Oh, we're live. We're live. Elaine.
All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Reality NSFW. As always, I'm Elaine Stott from season 39 of Survivor. My right-hand man, Professor Tim Wilson. And today we got the winner of season 1, Alex Holbern. I hope I said that right. Thanks for coming on with us. We really appreciate it. And you know, I didn't get to watch your season, but Tim's told me a lot about you, and I can't wait to watch from what I heard about you. So hopefully I can watch soon.
No, Alex is magnificent. Well, Alex, we're going to talk about that mission because we share that thing. Except I think you've been a little bit more strict in this than I have been, because I've watched up to episode 4 of my series, whereas I think you've not watched any of yours. But let's come to that later. I just want to say how in awe I am that the last time Alex and I spoke, it was Alex doing the official podcast of the Circle, and you know, so Alex is the seasoned podcaster, and here am I, this little amateur who can barely control his tools, and I've lost my primary tool today. I've lost the banner which says Circle, and what you may not realize on the other side in real world, as opposed to in this strange world of semi-reality TV podcast quasi broadcasting thing, is that I'm the person who's in control, and Elaine is the person who's in charge. Now, there is a difference. Elaine knows what she's doing, and I have no idea at all. And Alex is watching in horror as because Alex has real. I have met Alex's people who are wonderful, and Alex has a whole system behind him. And I literally have a button that I can't find.
We just wing it, basically. We're rookies at this. So any pointers you can give us, we would be gladly appreciated.
I'm nothing without my producers. I'm just a voice. Yeah.
There you are.
I know what you mean. You guys, it's fair play. I couldn't do this on my own. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just talk and it gets done. Yeah. It's great.
Well, we need to hire better help. I don't know if Johnny Fairplay is listening to this or not, but
no, our help is the best available. He's a wonderful fellow called Zach. So all praise to Zach, and so thank you. Anyway, look, well done, Alex. Zach. Let's go straight in, because theoretically in these chats we're supposed to talk about the Circle up till now.
We don't do that.
Elaine tries very hard to keep me on task.
Yeah, we talk about everything else but the Circle sometimes.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's the nature of the beast. It is circular. You know, we start somewhere, we vaguely end up back where we started.
Yeah.
And maybe we've achieved something, maybe we haven't.
But it's all in good fun, though.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, I made a few notes today, because I thought, oh my God, I've got to be a little bit more prepared, because Alex is going to be here.
True. True.
And so I've made some. Look, Alex,
look at this.
It's like an essay, but it's almost illegible. This is the problem. You start writing so much, and I'm just wondering if there's any. Oh, on the other side, I've got a rough drawing for Stiesel. Is it Stiesel? Stiesel. Wonderful film in Hebrew on Netflix, which is probably now in its 3rd series. It's probably one of the best things available.
This is how it starts right here. He's like, and then next thing you know, 10 minutes later.
But the Circle is in its 3rd series as well. Now, Alex and I did a podcast the other day. And I thought, you know, I was just doing my normal podcast thing, and when it was aired, sort of most of the things which I thought were really interesting had disappeared, and I was pruned to being really rather on target and on subject. I thought, has that ever happened in the history of podcasting? No, it has with Alex.
We're highly edited. You know this. We're highly edited across all platforms. We were edited on the show, and we are equally as edited on podcasts, and that is the beauty of the official podcast. Whereas this, I can say whatever the F I want.
Yeah, say it. Just say what
you are allowed to use strange language because it's
okay.
the part of the description is the NFSW, so not suitable
Not
for
safe
work
for work.
Or something.
Not safe for work.
Have I got the acronym the right way round? I think I got it wrong there. NSFW.
Yeah.
NSFW. I didn't have the slightest idea what that was. And as I've never worked a day in my life, I mean, I thought the last time I was in the school, somebody started talking about who's your line manager, and I thought, what is that? Is that some sort of drawing euphemism? But apparently, in real jobs, people have a line manager. Do you have one, Alex?
No. Well, in that job, I guess I do. The executive producers probably my line manager.
Oh God, yes. Oh yes.
But no, not in day-to-day life, which is quite nice. It's quite refreshing.
It is quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah. Elaine, I've got a question for you. How do you do this every week with Tim?
It's through the power of Zach, because I have no idea. Seriously, he hooks me up. He's got a Google Documents thing, because I can't even watch the episodes that he sends me through Google Documents, and I get to watch them that way. And then,
amazing.
And then Tim sends me the link and this, that, and the other. So, and the hardest part about it is the time, because me and Tim keep getting the time confused.
Yeah.
I can't remember if you guys are 4 hour ahead or 5 hour ahead. So it's like, it's hard for us to get on the same page, but we work it out somehow.
Awesome.
This is great. Anyway, so I've got some sort of structural ideas. And the first one really is about spying, espionage. Now I thought Alex particularly is going to know about this. I have a feeling, Elaine, you don't know much about espionage. No. You're not a natural spy, are you?
No.
You're a natural doer.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I'm gonna be out.
I actually dare to suggest I am a natural spy, like Alex, and I think we would both be rather good. Catfishing, but anyway, look. The question really is: does success legitimize the actions of a catfish? It's a nasty question, Alex.
Yeah, just in terms of the show, or just if in general life.
I think we need to be more general.
Okay. So I don't think. Yeah, I think. The reason the show I was so conflicted on the show playing this catfish character, and that the show is that way inclined is almost controversial, is because it was although it was in a safe environment, it was still hurting people technically, if you see what I mean. So it's portrayed as this safe space where everyone's aware of what it possibly could be, but by day 2 you've forgotten everything that you were thinking on the day 1, and it just becomes this sort of really intense emotional experience. And if I was feeling that way, I can imagine what other people were feeling like, thinking that I was this woman who I was pretending to be.
Alex was pretending to be Kate.
Right.
She's my girlfriend.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Whose name is not quite Kate, but it's difficult, isn't it, lying to that extent?
It's very difficult, and it's difficult lying for that duration of time. Yeah. As well.
With people trying to catch you out.
Well, luckily on my series there was no one as good as you, Tim. My dog. Sorry about this, by the way. There's no one as good.
I enjoy photos of your dog. I've seen them. Would I have sussed you out, do you think?
I don't know. So I was highly prepared for playing this character. However, I wasn't highly prepared for everything the circle had to offer. So eventually, sort of halfway through, I scrapped my game plan and just was myself, because behind this character of this lady, because it was so hard to maintain that sort of false personality for so long. Yeah. And I think when that changed, you may have caught me, Tim.
Yes, yeah. No, I think I might have caught you earlier on, but would I have outed you with that? And that's the question, because James did the same thing that you have just described. James in my season stopped playing Sammy with the baby, and there's a scene, apparently I haven't seen it. He's described it to me. Najat has described it to me. Various people have described it to me, and I've never seen it, so I don't quite know. But apparently, I do remember the conversation, which is quite long. I contacted Sammy-James, and I started talking about Charlie, his non-existent baby. And he got quite wound up. I think his producers were saying, "Is he on to you? Is he on to you?" And he was sort of charging around the room, saying, "I'm going to block you, Tim. You're going to get blocked." Whereas in fact, what I was really doing, and the main focus of the conversation, which of course doesn't get into the edit at all, was that if you are a mother with baby, you cannot stop talking about him.
Mm-hmm.
So you're breaking your character. I wanted him to keep playing this part because I'd actually worked him out on day one. Which of course no production would ever want to know. They weren't interested in that, and they were more interested in, what do you think of the baby? Well, he's a baby, as non-existent babies go. He's very cute, he's up there with Jesus. And I thought, and when I see, every time I try to draw him, because my route to catfishing was draw the person I see in front of them. If they don't look as if they're real, then clearly they're catfishing. And every time I drew Sammy and baby, it came out looking like the mother and child, which of course, that's worked for 2,000 years. Why wouldn't it continue working? Well, unless you happen to be dealing with a theology professor. So I just see straight through that one. And I thought, okay, but I thought James was simply lovely.
Yeah.
And we had this bond almost immediately, which went beyond the image.
Mm.
And we had points of reference which went beyond the image. And of course, the edit finds it really difficult to do with that, because it would have to then tell an extra story, and it has enough difficulty telling the one story it's got to tell.
Right.
Yeah. So,
and you have the same thing in Survivor, of course, Elaine, that you've got the edit has to tell a very simple story, A to C with a slight curve up into B.
Yeah.
And so if you start going off into D, E, in English we would go to Z, but you would go to Z. And if you start going off into other bizarre letters of the alphabet, your average viewer can't follow this.
Well, the biggest thing on Survivor is like, sometimes we would sneak off and have little conversations, but it would help tell the story better. But if it didn't happen on camera, they say it didn't happen. And so like, if you had those secret convos and it helped explain your game, it wouldn't get added, so they would have to spin something else, so
or reconstruct those conversations, which of course definitely happened in my season of the Circle.
I had said a few times, it's like, I can have that convo over, and I'm sorry, it just happened. It wasn't like I meant to do it,
But it's very difficult to reconstruct those conversations because I'm very happy. I've got the memory of a goldfish. So if you want me to have the same conversation that I've just had with somebody, put me in the same situation, I will have exactly the same conversation with great energy.
Wait, I have to ask, Alex, whenever you played, so did you come out and like tell the truth of who you was, or did you play it out the whole way?
I played it out the whole way until they made us meet on the last episode. But what was different, and I would be curious to know what your opinion is on this, Tim, was that in my series, no one, and I still to this day think that I was the one who triggered in the casting process the producers to start realizing that people could be different people, because they rang me. I was a very early, unlike Tim, I actually applied for the show and I was very early to that process. And they were like, what? And I worked in social media for a long time. They're like, what would you do to be the most popular person on social media? And I was like, well, women are more popular than men. And I've always struggled with that on social media. It's a combination of things, but I had a very high dominated male following at the time, and they're less likely to engage with content. They'll consume it and engage with it in different ways to how females engage with content. So I said to them, I want to be a woman. And then they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, be a woman.
Really?
Yeah,
so it's your fault. So it's your fault, basically.
So you are the catfish queen.
Yeah. So I feel that I started this thing. I'm not sure. Hands up, it could have been anything, but I did feel that way. And then what I would be curious to know from you, Tim, is if you hadn't seen my series and you were going in like me with no previous experience of what the circle could possibly be, and you've just got this brief that anyone could be anyone and it's a circle, would you go in?
I wasn't given that brief.
Oh, so I was given any of the other series?
No. When I had my first conversations, the brief I was given was this was a very successful television show. I had vaguely heard of it, and I thought strange to do a television show where people can't meet. I think I'd read an article. And so it was sort of at the back of my mind somewhere. But no, I was told specifically this was a show about friendship, and my God, I pressed such a button, and I thought, yeah, I'll do it. Any show about friendship, I'll do. I want friendship. I want kindness. We want, and then I had a conversation with somebody on Skype, and she said to me, "Would you be a catfish?" And I thought,
"A what?"
Yes, of course I would. Yes, what? I was too in the moment to stop there and say, what's a catfish? Because I had no idea. And she went on and on about catfish. And then I changed subject onto her dog or something, or cat. I don't know what it was. And I thought I'd just misunderstood. But she seemed very happy that I was happy to be a catfish if necessary or not. And I had no idea what it was. I don't think I even looked it up. I think I had another conversation the following day. And I think I was brave enough then to say, what is this catfish thing? I was doing the geriatric bit then. I'd be able to do it so much more successfully after May the 12th when I would actually be 60. And I'd be, oh, what is happening? What is happening? You get a license to do a sort of gauche sort of forgetfulness at that point. But yeah. So I really had no excuse, and they did say, oh, it's when people pretend to be other people. Has anybody catfished you? And I thought, yeah, constantly. I mean, I don't believe half the things I read on Facebook and stuff. And they asked me about Instagram. That was a non-starter because I didn't know what that was. Instagram, is that a sort of coffee? I don't drink coffee. It was fascinating, and so I think I saw your series about 2 days before I went in, and then I sort of everything sort of clicked, and I thought, okay, right, I see what I've got to do. But originally, they once we got over the fact I didn't know what a catfish was, they then suggested I should be a catfish, and I went off and I thought, oh yes, I could be Mrs. May. I could make a political statement. I could be sitting in this room weeping over the misery that she's caused our country. Elaine, you got off lightly. You didn't have anything like this misery of Mrs. May running your country for a number of years. You just had such a lovely government.
Now I know you're lying.
My question for you, Elaine, is you had 30. So you were season 39, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of previous game plans and things and twists and turns to consume. Well, had you watched a lot of them before you went on there, or were you quite?
Yeah, I watched every single season. I had been a fan since it came out in 2001, and I had actually tried out way back when in my 20s, and I tried out 4 times over the course of 20 years. But what I told production whenever I finally got cast is every time I tried out, I was at a different place in my life. So I was still the same core, but I was a different person. And I always go back to, you're right where you're supposed to be. And it just so happened that I was supposed to be on the island when I was 41. You know what I mean? It was like,
did you see the twists and turns coming because you knew the show when you were on it?
Well, because listen, I have a tendency to I go by my gut and I just read people and if I click with them, I click with them. And it wouldn't matter what twist they throwed in. If I was cool with you or if I was good with you, personally, I didn't care. You know what I mean? There was nothing the game could have thrown at me to throw me off how I felt about someone. But I was not prepared for different, like the strategy of it, I guess. Even though I had watched it and I knew it was all these things, it's just once I like you, I like you. So I had a hard time being strategic.
You see, we've talked about this a few times, Elaine. Maybe not directly, but one of the things which I thought was so interesting about Alex's series of The Circle, and was pretty well present in my series and is not present in the present series, is that that idea of friendship was encouraged, and in the Survivor, although it's not spoken, I think that concept of friendship is inevitable because you're up against the elements. It's a man against nature.
Yeah, and that's why
a woman against nature.
Yeah, I would always say, like, people would ask or say, like, oh, if I went on Survivor, I would do this or I would do that. And my thing is like, yo, you don't know who you're going to be with. So you really don't know how you're going to react to somebody's personality, how they handle things, how they do whatever. So you really don't know what you're going to do until you actually step out there and meet the people. And for me, the only way I know how to base that off is like how I feel about you personally, and like you said, friendship. Like if I clicked, I clicked, and if I didn't, then I'm like, yo.
Well, was it anyone you didn't click with? Am I allowed to ask?
Yeah. There was a couple people that I just to this day I still just don't click with.
Really?
Yeah, just not.
I can't imagine someone not clicking with you, Elaine.
Yeah, it was more like, if you show me who you are in here and I don't like it, I don't fuck with you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm done. You know what I mean? So I think I saw some things and I'm like, yo, I don't rock with that kind of people, and I don't. So that it's kind of just a personal thing on my end. It's but like when people go out there, sometimes they transform who they are. And like, for example, on my season, Karishma, on the island, I hated her. And I told her that. I was like, yo, I hated you. But outside the game, she's actually really cool. And I told her, I was like, I don't understand why you couldn't be you out there. And she just felt like she was super constricted. And I think the elements, because she's a house cat, the elements she didn't know how to adapt to. And you throw that into the factor of she was from a different culture, she was Indian, and like she just couldn't find her footing. And because of that, she kind of retracted a little. And when she pulled back, it caused me to, be like, but outside the game, she's awesome people. Like, I hang out with her. She came to my wedding.
Amazing.
So like I can see how people go into a game and they become something else. And just because I see them at face value, I'm like, yo, I don't rock with that. But if I get to know them later, then it might change. I don't know. It's just the whole reality TV thing. It's a crazy genre. It's like,
it's not.
No.
Well, we have to find a way to reform the reality TV thing, but that's a much bigger debate. Now, if it's going to survive, because otherwise I think it will actually come crashing down in flames in the next year or so, because you can't have people killing themselves every other month.
Well, it's like they up the bar for shock value. Like if you watch Survivor.
Yeah, but you can. Yeah,
like the bar just keeps going up. Well, it was over a span of 20 years. We talked about this before. I feel like the circle has went. They're only on season 3, and they went from 1 to like 5 million. You know, what I mean? It's like they Survivor done it over a huge span of time, and I think that's why it lasted so long. Whereas your guys' show, The Circle, man, it's just going balls out now, and it's like, yo, where do you go from here? Where do you go?
Well, look, you have to go back, and you have to rethink the core of the circle, because at the moment it's not a circle. It's about fracturing the circle. It's a square, or it's a rhomboid, or whatever it is. It's like one of those hypercubes. We've moved away from the circle. Is about reciprocity. Is about unity.
Yeah.
And anything, and if production is breaking that, then it's not the circle. But individuals can break it, and they will break it. That's the nature of individuals. So anyway, look, the thing really is, how do we get back to it? But something you were mentioning, Elaine, brings me. I realize there's another thing I want to talk about, and I want to talk about an individual in this series of The Circle. If I can be that pointed, we will get to mention everybody, I'm sure. But the person I really want to talk to, because I've received some messages from her mother by mistake, and I didn't realize it was her mother. And I said how much I liked her.
Good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Then she wrote back and
said something bad. Like,
yeah, wouldn't that have been ghastly? But I wouldn't have done, because I do like her. And then today I received a message, I think, from her father, she's having a tough time, I think. And this is a person called Manrika, and she's playing a very, very tough game.
Yeah.
But we know from Survivor, there's people like Johnny who play really tough games. But whenever we meet Johnny, we just want to hug him. And there's a difference between the performer on screen and the person who is real. And the problem with social media being fed into this mix is it produces a sort of a really nasty crowd response, and people take it all very personally.
Yeah.
And it's quite ugly to see. So I just thought, actually, before we get on to Manrika, let me tell you about another Instagram message, because I'm now the Instagram king. I've been I didn't have Instagram before I got onto Circle. It was set up for me, and I suddenly shot up to 100,000 viewers, and I feel I get quite upset when I lose a view, and I get quite excited when I get one, and I think, where did this come from? But so you can see how this can take over somebody's life. But today I got a message from somebody who said to me, "I've got to be straight with you. I didn't like it when you blocked Brooke and saved a catfish, and then you got upset with James because he blocked Ella." And I thought, well, no. Number one, I'm great friends with James. Number two, I didn't block Brooke to save a catfish. I thought, why am I justifying myself? This is just faintly abusive.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
And what come on doing? And this is over a year after the event. I'm getting sort of savaged for blocking Brooke. And Brooke and I get on terribly well. And the reason I blocked Brooke was because I didn't know very much about her, because of the edit. Because I only see what I'm allowed to see.
Right.
And I would say this. There's another question we can ask about whether this is a game. If it's a game, we don't know the rules. That is a sort of game. That's a reasonable game. It's the sort of game Mary Poppins would devise. And she could change the rules on the way, but there would be a lot more magic, I think.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that people take what they see on TV at face value. I don't think the average person watching television thinks about the edit and everything that goes into it. I don't think they have to think about the edit. They just have to think about niceness and about kindness. Well, that's true. But I'm saying if you get edited as a villain and people hate you because you're doing this, and this, like Johnny Fairplay, for example, he used to get knocked out in the street. Like, they would literally walk up to him and knock him the fuck out. You know what I mean? Just knock his lights out because he was such a douchebag on TV. And I've hung out with Johnny from time to time, and maybe some of the things he says isn't the most appropriate, but he's actually a pretty cool guy. And so from that standpoint, if you look at it from that, if you're pitched as a villain on TV and you have all these people that just super hate you, they can't separate the two of real life and television. And I think that's what you get. You get a lot of people that watch TV and they just can't separate it or conceive why you would do these things. You know what I mean? And I think it gets a little twisted.
Well, now we're in the point.
Really tough.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tim. I was just going to say something that's really tough is, and this is developed probably throughout the duration of Survivor, is now everyone's got a platform that they can voice their opinions on, right? As you said before Johnny or whoever you're referring to, people would attack him in the street. Now, I would much rather have the barrier of my home and my personal space as a safe space, but unfortunately, it's now invaded by our phones, which makes us exposed from anywhere, unless we ditch our phones, which is like kind of for people, that's escapism. And
unthinkable.
It's unthinkable for a lot of people. Unless we ditch that, unfortunately, everyone now can constantly voice their opinions on what we've done on TV. which is massively difficult, and social media in general, and the ability for people who would never say anything to your face. You may get the few people that would voice their opinions in public. Giving them the ability to have a go is disastrous, and has been for many people, both in reality TV and vastly wider.
Wait. Whenever you was on your season, did you get any hate for being a catfish? Or
so what's different about mine and Tim's seasons was we were kind of in this bubble at the time that it was on, whereby the day-to-day show was live, so we were never exposed to the elements. And like people now say, Manrika, we take her for example, if she was a villain at the beginning, and then the story arc makes a nice story at the end, she has been present throughout all of these stages where every day people have a opinion of what she's doing. Whereas me specifically, I can't speak for Tim, but where I won the show and I came off the show, and then I just had this bombardment of love and hate. Love for people that liked me, just like there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that love Manrika, including myself. I think she's great.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, but they're not as vocal about it, obviously, and the negative ones are really going to cut through. So for me, I just had tons of love, and it almost blurred out any of the negative stuff, which there was, and I'm sure there was with Tim as well.
Yeah. That was me. I got America's Favorite on Survivor, so the hate that I did receive, because I did receive some, it wasn't nothing compared to the love that I was shown. And I've always been one. I've been super secure in who I am always, and I know I'm a little heavy, so you making fat jokes at me, it doesn't really bother me. So it's like I just let all the hate roll off my shoulders. But I can see how somebody like Manrika, for example, I know she's getting a ton of it right now. I can see how it can weigh on your psyche if you just got it day after day after day. And that's super sad, man. I hate that that's happening to her right now.
What's extraordinary is Manrika was getting death threats, even when I thought actually the edit was not particularly aggressive. Now in the last episode that aired, I mean, she is genuinely being painted as a Bond villain. But I would say celebrate that. This is in many ways fantasy. But it's very difficult to remove a person who is going under their own name, under their own identity, from this fantasy that the edit produces.
And what's baffling is that the fact that it was pre-shot, right, and the fact that Manrika has been having this massively hard time over the last couple of weeks, the editors of the show have had time to adjust whatever they need to adjust, right? The end result's always going to be the same. But if they were serious, and I don't want to throw anyone into disrepute and cause a drama or anything, but if they were that concerned and that present in terms of aftercare, they would maybe tame it off a bit throughout, because they see
absolutely
can react to what's going on presently. But
the
they
power
don't.
of the edit, they could fix it, or at least like lighten it a little bit.
But in fact, what they've done is ratcheted it up even more. I mean, I spoke to top executives in the production company a few days ago, and mentioned that I was concerned about this, and they both said, oh, it's awful. I thought, well, yeah. But actually, it's not unique, because last year, Paddy and James had death threats. So you should be able to anticipate this. And if I can anticipate it, I don't see why they can't. I mean, clearly they're upset about it, but learning that they're upset isn't enough. We need to take action to make sure that Manrika, for example, is safe. But I think we need to go beyond that. We need to say, what an amazing, Hashu playing Uncle Saeed is just doing one of the best performances I think I've ever seen outside drama school, number one. But number two, I think Manrika is doing the same, actually. I would love, when I was younger, I always wanted the villainous parts, and sadly those were the only ones I got offered. But because I have eyebrows, you see. But now I've got to the point where I become a little bit more fluffy. And I think really all I really want to do is play versions of Santa. But so I do understand where the sort of Bond villain. No, Mr. Bond, I'm just waiting for you to die. You know, at this moment, Bay should be leaping into my arms, but at this moment, he's become a bit camera shy. God knows why. You know, but I think we should be celebrating Manrika.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard anybody say this, and I just thought we should be out there, and any good spy story or any good adventure story needs a hero and a villain.
Yeah.
So, Alex, if Manrika is the villain, who is the hero?
Ooh, in this series, it depends what you class as a hero.
It's difficult, isn't it?
Because I don't. So all this like going on there, the people that frustrate me the most, and this is unbiased here, is the people that go on portraying that they're like, I am who I am, I'm loyal, I'm not being anyone else, I'm going to just be myself and win the show. And I always think to myself, it's a game show.
Yeah.
If you don't have a strategy, why are you wasting your time?
Yeah.
Because you're just going to get beaten by someone that has a better strategy than you. So you almost want those people that are being themselves to come on and be like, I'm going to be myself, but this is who I am. I am not adverse to a conflict. I'm a quick thinker. I'm quite smart. I'm going to outsmart people. I'm going to use this part of my personality. I'm going to drum this bit up, put this bit down, whatever it may be. I almost want that strategy side of things because that's just the way I think. So I don't know. I feel that the hero is probably, for me, is Hashu, just because, as you say, Tim, he's been an incredible performer.
But the problem with Hashu is he's being portrayed as the family clown. So he's he's the person who is providing the light entertainment, and he's not getting the central core of the edit. He's getting the sidekick edit.
Yeah. Hey, but being the sidekick can win you the money, though. So there's nothing.
Oh, it can indeed. It can indeed. But I
that's what I wanted to do all my season. I told somebody, I don't know if you guys ever seen Talladega Nights, but I told them in my pregame stuff. I said, "Yo, I want somebody to be my Ricky Bobby. I need to be Cal Naughton Jr. and win the damn
100%.
thing." You know what I mean? That's what I wanted to do.
That's so true. Like that's so Elaine, you just like nailed it there. The best way to win this show and the way the ratings are set up is to not be first. Mm-hmm. It's to just be the average person. Like obviously it was me in series 1. I wasn't the favorite to win, and I managed to win the ratings just by being this average because it's out of 5, right? Paddy did the same in season 2. Tim won the viewer vote, so there's no taking that away from him. He nailed that. And then I believe it's going to happen again this time. It's going to you've got to look at like 4 or 5 in the ratings and think, okay, whoever's 4th or 5th popular here can just make a run and just win it, and it's going to be the huge upset.
I think that's Hashu.
I hope it is.
He's playing Saeed so well, but he's never getting that top spot, which was it's been Andy's been influencer. I can't even tell you. I mean, like 5 or 6 times, right? And then Marika had been a 3 or 4 or whatever. So they've always been at the top. So for me, I really think he's in a better position than they ever. You know what I mean? I think you're right with that.
But we come back to my question: who is the hero? Because this is a drama with certainly more than one villain.
Literally? Okay, sorry.
There's certainly more than one villain. There is no. I can't see a hero.
Honestly, I think it's been Andy. It has.
Well, yes, except they keep giving Andy edits which make him look a little bit sort of questionable, and you think, Andy, why did you say that? And so they're not favouring. They've made a decision not to favour Andy as the hero. In my series, I think they made me into the hero, which is very flattering and rather sweet. And they made James into the villain. So you sort of have this standoff of the 2 cowboys.
Well, if you put it that way, then I don't know. I don't know who would be the.
Yeah, no, I don't think. I think what Tim's getting at here is that there isn't a hero.
I don't think there is. There were people who could have been. I mean, if I'd had my finger on the on the Adobe Premiere or whatever they're using, Avid, I would have. Maybe Avid is out of date now. But I would have been making Billy the hero, or
I liked Billy.
there were other people. Now, who was the person who was the victim of the cloning?
Tally.
I could have done anything with Tally.
She got double screwed. She got double screwed.
Yeah.
I didn't. I disapproved of Tally's treatment fundamentally because she has ADHD and because I know about this problem from students I've looked after, students who've lived in my house. You know, the one thing they dislike more than anything else is unfairness. And the one thing that Tally had in abundance was being treated unfairly.
Yeah.
And it was almost as if, look, here's an interesting issue. Let's do what we can to ratchet up the tension and make her life miserable. I thought that was an evil edit.
I have to say that she is the bigger woman than me, because if I went to see Manrika, I think I would have been like, "Bitch, I'm gonna knock you out," because that was dirty. That was dirty, son. She done her girl dirty.
It was dirty. It was dirty, but she was wise enough, because she's a clever lady. She was wise enough to know this was not Manrika. This was, and Manrika, I think. There's a lot of what Manrika is saying which is not getting in there because production isn't interested.
Manrika caught heat from Gemma when Gemma left. I was like, "Oh, this is getting good." She was giving her hell. But I thought it was funny though. It was kind of like the pot calling the kettle black a little bit. It's like you drew a picture of a snake, but here this dude was lying the whole time. It's like, yo, what are you getting mad about? You know what I mean? Like,
it's true.
Your feelings got hurt, you big baby. Like, come on now. Like, you know, like she drew a picture. You lied the entire time. How are you justifying any of this shit? But whatever.
Yeah.
You a sensitive Nancy. Go ahead then.
There's a difference between lying and catfishing. There's a difference between lying and acting, and we know so many actors go on about, I'm acting truthfully. No, you're not. You're lying for a living. You know, how can you be lying for a living truthfully?
Yeah.
But that's the point. We've called one form of deceit acting, and we've called another form of deceit lying, and you know, you can get put into prison for some forms of lying. But I wasn't lying, I was acting, Your Honor.
I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try that next time I get arrested.
I think it's very good.
There's been times before.
There's been a few times in my past. I'm a little wilder than people think sometimes, but at 20 years removed, you know, when I was in college, I was a bit of a hellion. So it's like, I've been in the jail. Yeah, I've been in the jail a couple times. So, but I'm just saying, I'm gonna try to use that next time. I'm like, yo,
have you ever done this, Alex?
No, Tim. You know me. I'm from Oxford. We don't get up to any of this.
Are you actually from Oxford? I didn't realise this.
I am.
Whereabouts
from where you teach?
Whereabouts in Oxford?
I think we've had this discussion, but it's a place called Tame.
Oh, I know Tame. Yes, you're just outside Oxford. You're in the very beautiful areas.
I know.
Tame is probably one of the most beautiful places on the planet.
Oh well,
so,
I mean,
you're
it
saying
really
you're not a hellion like me, is what you're saying. That's what.
If I was Elaine,
it's
I wouldn't be telling you on here.
I hear you. You're pleading the fifth.
Who knows who's watching? Yeah, who knows who's watching?
There you go. I'm like, hell with it. I'll say it. I'll take I'll suffer the consequences later. It's okay.
I like that mentality.
So anyway, let's get back to my original question. Does success legitimize anything you do as a catfish?
No.
Well, I think it's an internal thing. If you can live with the things that you do, then what? Go ahead. Like, you should never base how you feel or how you act on other people. You should base it on yourself. So if you're comfortable with being a catfish and telling some lies and doing this, that, and the other, or playing like Manrika and getting to the end, if you're comfortable with that and the ends justify the means for you personally, then nobody else outside your circle should be allowed to dictate how you should or shouldn't feel. I don't.
Well, you know that there's an interesting problem, a sort of philosophical problem, and that is what you've got. Let's say 19 people in this game. Only one of them is going to win. So 18 of them are going to have to justify their behavior to their friends after they come out, aren't they?
Yeah.
So if you're all desperate to win and trample over each other, this isn't a very good image to be left with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know this is what's being encouraged, but I certainly never thought for 1 minute that I was going to win.
Me neither.
I was really
Me
surprised when
neither.
I actually got something. And I didn't go in it to win. I went in it because A, I was invited, really flattered. And B, I thought, once you get over that, well, I never did get over that. I mean, the fact that anybody says they like me, and I'm sort of like putty in their hands, you like me. Oh, please, I'll do anything for you. Can I lick your toes?
Oh my
Which one do you want me to start with? In another life, I'm Fergie. But I'm just charmed when somebody says they like me. So of course, but. So when we had all these questions at one point, what would you do? What would you do with the money if you got it? Well, I'm never going to get it. I mean, what a ridiculous question.
Yeah.
What Alex, would you do if you could blow up the world?
Did you have the money spent, Alex, before you got it? Did you already have it spit in your head before you won?
No, so I genuinely didn't think going to win. So I won the money of the game, and then I won the public vote as well. So I had this like double whammy of things where I was like, as soon as I won the money within the show, I thought, well, the public obviously hate me. So I was already like,
right,
my heart was going, and I was just like, okay, there's no chance that I've won this one. Like, well done, guys, that's great. And it was like they said my name. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Well, it's because you play these two games. It's because you're playing these two parts. You've got the part which the public can see on the day-to-day television, and then you've got the part which you're playing in the block of flats itself. And these are two 100%. Games. And you were capable of doing that. I think it was a strain. Most of the people in my series, I think, weren't really capable of doing that. They found that really tough. James, I know, had a lot of difficulty with that, but by the time we got to my game, it was already ratcheted up. Now we're in another game, and I think people have almost forgotten that there's a public watching.
No, I agree.
I think they don't care.
Oh,
I think they don't care. Like in the moment,
really?
they're just I think that they're just playing their game because they're so focused on the end. I don't think they're really like taking into consideration what the outside world would think of them. I just think they're playing it out. Like, I don't think I don't think it's coming into their mind. Well, kind of like what you said, that they forget that they're on TV or whatever. But I just think they're so focused on winning that they've let everything else go to the wayside. The crazy thing is like when I went on Survivor, when I came home, my friends were pissed. They were like, yo, you can be such an asshole. Why didn't you play harder? And it's like, I don't know why I didn't. I don't know. I was just this side of me. And so, like, I think maybe the people that went in, they have this, like, kind of permission. You know what I mean? Like, I think your family and friends give you permission to do what you got to do to win. So I think that plays a part in it. I think all those things plays a role in how they're actually playing the game. But essentially it goes back to what I said. I think it comes down to like, Manrika's got it in her head that she has to win this money for her mother. So she's willing to, do a little snaky here, snaky there, be friends. Because she really wants that for her mom. And listen, coming from in here, how can I be mad at her for that? I don't understand. I don't understand why she's getting so much hate just for playing her heart out for her mom. Yep. It's like, you know what I mean? So she's okay with me. I don't know about everybody else.
It's interesting what you said, Elaine, about like putting a certain version of yourself, not being aware of the cameras and stuff. I was like fully aware the whole time that I was on TV. Like, it was so weird. I was like, I took certain things into the show, which actually happened to make the edit, which I was kind of using my knowledge of production and social media, which is my day job. I was using that to hopefully get myself more airtime. So I took in this dressing gown, which was really wacky colors, and I used it only when I was like victorious at something. And then I brought in like high heels, and I was like, I'm going to utilize these at some point. And I did all these things, and apparently it all when I came out, there's like GIFs made of these moments, and I was like, I outsmarted you, producers.
Yeah.
Like,
well, listen, like you were way ahead of the game though with your thinking. I think a lot of people that go into reality TV, I think they do that now. You know what I mean? But for me personally, I was in the adventure so much. You know what I mean? Like I was on an island, not eating, not washing my ass. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, Yo, I'm in such a crazy place, and I was in such a weird spot emotionally because I had just lost my mom 3 months before I went, and I was just sucking all that adventure, that life, that journey, that stuff in. So for me, I didn't even think about the cameras, like it wasn't something that came in the forefront. But I think that's why my friends were so pissed, because they know that I can get a little dirty. They know I can do these things, and they didn't see any of it. And I was like, yo, I was just in such a crazy headspace that I couldn't possibly do dirt to people in that frame of mind. So
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so it's like, yo, you was way ahead of your game. You might be better off that you got into the first one, because if you went in now, you might be bottom tier player, because they brought some people in that's playing top tier. And I think Marika's one of them. I think she's killing it, and I hate that she's getting hate. Yeah. That's just my opinion, though,
But I mean,
still to this day, Go, Tim.
Yeah. Well, I think Manrika has been greatly blessed by having Natalia Felix there, because once Felix put forward that relationship, she's pretty well secured both of them for the final. Because that's the Alex Dan relationship. That's effectively the Tim Sammy relationship. That's the confrontation. That's the heart of the confrontation at the final.
How do you think that's gonna go when she finds out that that's not Felix? Because I really think Manrika's invested a little here.
Yes, I think she's invested a little here as well, I'm afraid.
I think, what is her name? Natalia? I think she's feeling a little of that buyer's remorse, son. She's not, it's not setting right with her.
Well,
she's doing
I'm hoping that Syed makes the final, because he will be there to reach out and offer
a perfect couple, yo. I think we should go on get a petition going to get the two of them together, because I think they're perfect for each other.
Yeah, they're great.
I think Hashu is wonderful, I think in every way he's wonderful. I think he's so invested in creating this character that he's got that he's not really looking around what other people are doing, and I think he could be caught out very, very quickly.
So who's your dark horse then, Tim, to win?
Oh, Natalia will win. There's no question about it.
What about you, Alex? Who do you think?
I want Hashu to win, just for the comedian in me and the content creator in me. I think he's awesome, and I think he's smashing it.
I think he's in a good spot. I really do. And
if there's a public vote, who'd win?
Yeah. I think both of them's in a good spot to win. Because like we said before, they're not at the top. You know what I mean? They're hovering right just beneath it.
Yeah.
And with Manrika having such a huge target on her back, and other players like having targets on their back, they may just slide in there and take the whole damn thing. So
I mean, there are people who deserve to win. And we could rank those. Andy, Andy, Billy, Vithan, absolutely the heart of the circle.
Dude, I just want to hug his neck. I love that kid.
Well, you will. We will get the opportunity tomorrow. So Vithan is coming. Vithan is coming on tomorrow. Isn't it lovely? I had to negotiate like some sort of mad person with the system.
Tim sold his soul to get him on the show.
I love that kid, man.
I wanted Vithan here over a week ago, and I wasn't allowed. But I just think, Vithan is somebody. And he is what the circle should be all about.
Dude, did you see whenever him and Andy hugged? Listen, I'm a big softie, so I'm not gonna lie. I was just like, oh, this is beautiful. Like when they hugged it out and Vithan was crying, like I just felt that raw emotion. You know what I mean? It was beautiful.
Yeah.
We need more of that. We need more of that in the show, man.
See, that's what reality TV, to me, that's what it should be. It should be lifting people up and filling something in here. You know what I mean? Not all this cutthroat backstabbing.
Yep.
Whatever. I just think
the cutthroat backstabbing. People would do that anyway if they want that prize. I mean, God knows why anybody wants to cutthroat and backstab for 100,000 quid. 1 million, maybe. Would that make any difference?
How much is that in American money? Because I don't even know how much y'all play.
It's pocket money. It's pocket money.
Is it like $100? Are y'all playing for $100? Is that what?
Yeah, it's a bit more than $100. It's $100,000.
You English are cutting people's throats for $10. You know, like, what the hell? What the hell?
We're a very little country. Boris is our prime minister.
There you go.
Look! Can I? Now I've got him here. I've got some little questions. I've got some little questions, but they are a little bit English, British centered. So I'm huge apologies.
I won't understand, but it's okay. Go ahead.
No. You will understand some of them. I think. You've got a choice because I know Alex likes these sort of things because he put me through one or two of them, and I thought I've never done this in my life. So it's something I thought could I think of some Alexisms. So you've got a choice, Alex.
Yeah.
Elaine, you've got a choice too.
Okay.
You can just plump for whichever one you want, and Alex can tell you a bit more about them, so you have some insight. Lawrence Fox or Sadiq Khan?
Ooh. Do you know what? I don't even know who Lawrence Fox is, Tim.
Do you not?
No.
Alex. You Google him, and I would tell you, Lawrence Fox was an actor from the Fox dynasty. I mean, so many people have been James Fox, Edward Fox, the who was the assassin in what was that film? I can't remember what. Actually, oh my God. Do you realize we've got comments? And I didn't think I always forget about the comments.
He finds every time at the end of the show. It's great.
Yeah.
Wait, are we live?
We are live. Yeah, we're completely live. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Look at this.
Yeah.
Hey guys. Hey,
where the hell do y'all think we been?
Oh, Alex has disappeared.
Himself out. Look.
No, Alex, come back. He's
like, I'm out of here. Forget this shit. I am out of here.
No.
Oh, we're live. Click. I'm done.
He'll be back in a second. I think.
That was hilarious.
I hope he'll be back in a second. Anyway, look.
So what
Lawrence,
are they saying in the chat? Wait. You said
not a great deal, really. Andy is the hero. Here he is. Alex, we were thinking, oh my God, what's happened? Alex has just gone off in a huff. We're live. I'm out of here.
I pressed the wrong button, guys.
That's hilarious.
This thing is so dodgy.
Oh yeah, isn't it dodgy? So look, Lawrence Fox is an actor, and he said something perhaps unguarded in a television debate called Question Time that we have here, and suddenly his acting career was over, and he's had to sort of take on the woke generation, and so he's branded as being very right wing, and he's going up against a man called Sadiq Khan who wants to be mayor of London. Sadiq Khan is very left wing, so it's really. It's
so
really
this is a political question.
This is a charged
Alex
question.
is a secret politico.
Yeah. It's like some things you don't talk about, like religion, and I know you would have a problem with that being a theology guy.
Oh no, I just assume everybody talks. Elaine, I assume everybody talks about religion all the time, and if they don't, they should. Welcome to my world. And if it's not going to be religion, it's going to be politics. And if it's not going to be politics, it'll be the circle. Yeah. So if we can give offence somewhere, we shall. We'll do it with a smile.
I would vote for the third party, whoever's not even on the, I would vote for them.
Well, Lawrence Fox, I think, really is the third party.
Neither one of those sound right to me. It's like, you don't need to be far right, far left. You need to be right in the middle,
Yeah, what I will do, Tim, this is what I would do. I would read both of their manifestos, and I would decide which one most reflects my own interests. And then I will vote on that.
Good answer.
Can we try one more?
Yeah,
one more. No, and then we'll do a circle one. So the next one is Meghan Markle or Princess Anne. Princess Anne apparently is now fingered I suppose that's a new experience.
What?
Princess Anne is not. Princess Anne is not.
Listen,
let me finish a sentence. Let me finish.
I'm a
Princess
lesbian.
Anne.
I think of things totally different when you start throwing the fingers around.
Princess Anne is now fingered as the person who may have said something about the baby's color.
Oh.
Ooh.
Well, I don't think that's cool. Like whoever said it, I don't think.
Yeah.
What's it matter?
Well, I entirely agree. But you can't imagine Princess Anne saying something that was intentionally racist. That's the point.
Well, I didn't. Go ahead.
I'm so bored of firstly the royals in general, Tim, and you'll probably frown upon this. I'm not sure. We need to have this discussion separately, but the whole thing is so irrelevant. The whole royal family for us English people, especially people of my interests, and is so irrelevant. And there's so much bigger issues going on in the world. I don't know why we're caught up on this random family. It's like watching EastEnders. Sorry,
yes,
that's a soap opera in
isn't
the UK.
It?
It's like watching EastEnders and being so interested in this one family. It's like I couldn't give a flying fuck about this family. Just I've got my own family to deal with, and I've got enough politics here.
Well,
I'm so sorry.
If you think about it, it's actually smart for any kind of governmental establishment to actually keep you focused on things that are less important than the actual issues.
Yes, absolutely. And Prince Harry has certainly been doing that.
That's the smartest thing they can do to keep us all in line, keep us all in our little circle.
So bringing this back to the circle is Natalia or Syed?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'd say Syed still. I still say Syed. He cracks me up, and I love humor, so it's like I would go with him.
What are we talking for, Tim? For a love interest or just? I vary massively.
I don't think so. I love both of them.
We know where Tim stands.
Well, with any luck, we're going to have Natalia on here next weekend. And possibly Andy, so we'll have a foursome, which would be rather exciting.
Amazing.
All these crazy terms
and
he uses just
now that Anthony Eros, who's been a very loyal viewer, has come up with something quite extraordinary here. Now it's something I noticed, and there have been some little memes going around that I've seen. Has anyone noticed a similarity with the new catfish Tom, who is a priest, and a previous rather popular contestant who was a monk called Tim? So yes, I must say, sort of vowel problems here. Could Tim and Tom be almost interchangeable?
It could be. I mean, it's probably autocorrect, isn't it?
So I think I'm going to take a great interest in what Pippa and Joey do with that character. I feel I'm invested in this in this new character who's coming into the circle.
It's because they're trying to bring back your awesomeness, and they don't know how else to do it other than just
I'd be very welcome, very welcome to come in, so sprinkle a little bit of charm and fun. But instead, I think they want Emma Willis looking like a sort of female Satan sliding down the tree of life and offering anybody who happens to be available another delectable apple and a twist.
Listen at him. He gets on these tirades about this, and I'm like, yo, that's a little extreme, but okay, Tim, okay. There you go.
Really, Elaine, I would resign rather than do the job that she's doing at the moment. I just think every time she appears, you think, oh my God, it's Satan. This is like there's a really good Netflix film called The Nun, and you just think it's like having the nun coming towards you, smiling, and she has this smile. She looks as if she wouldn't say boo to a goose, and then she comes out with, "There's a new twist." Ooh, and she sort of wriggles into a little. She's a great wriggler, and she's got a lovely selection of costumes.
I have to say they have had a million twists so far.
Yeah,
and too many, I think, actually.
Yeah, I think it takes away from it. I think it really does. It takes away from the game.
Maybe. Maybe. What would you do differently, Alex?
Nothing, Tim.
He won. Why would he?
Well, I mean, yeah. I think a good question. So I wouldn't do anything differently, but would I do it again is the question. And you couldn't pay me enough money to go back into that place.
Well, that's what I was.
The same thing. I would say the same thing. By the way,
if they had an All Stars, both of you would absolutely
never
get a call.
I would probably need
if they had an All Stars and they gave us enough money, I would possibly do it if I could do it as a couple with Alex.
So you'd need about $50.
I would not be in a room on my own in that.
About $50. About $50.
It would have to have a few more zeros on the end, but and that would be before we win anything. But I would not be in a room on my own in that apartment block. Really.
Well, I don't blame either one of you. I wouldn't play. The circle game isn't for me. So if I was either one of you, I wouldn't play again. But
I want to go on that island.
Yes, I would go on your island. I would go on your island. Absolutely, because that's sort of honest fun, isn't it? We know we can sort of we know we can do the strategy and the adventure and the alliances, because the experience is friendship in action.
Do they have Survivor over there? Like I know they got different versions in different countries.
There was some sort of. There was one recently, but it was called something different. But it was very fitness focused.
Oh God, that's not me.
A bunch of athletes surviving on an island.
James,
I don't think it's similar. Yeah,
James Gemma could have done. Well, both Jameses could have done it. They're both.
Yeah.
Well,
who would win?
I think Alex would do amazing because he's got that strategic mind. Tim, I think you would drown because you don't wear shorts. I think you would drown.
I would not wear shorts. I would not wear shorts at all. No.
That, or you would die of dehydration or heat stroke, or you know what I mean? Like, because you would be sweating your ass off.
Yes, it's true.
But the strategic part of Survivor is the biggest part of it these days. I mean, if you can handle the elements, but the emotional that you get after the fact that's the stuff they don't tell you about, because you're going to go and you're not going to eat and you're not going to sleep. So I think mentally you prepare for that, but what you don't prepare for is, like, when you come home, the struggles that you have when you come home, they outweigh any struggles that you actually face in the game, which is crazy. And I'd said this in one of the interviews I had done. Like when I came home, my biggest problem was I couldn't reacclimate back into my life. I had this fixation of I just wanted to talk to the people I was with, and it was kind of like we were a bunch of war buddies and been through something, and they were the only people that understood, so they were the only people I wanted to talk to. So it became a little crazy that here it was, I went on this game to win money for my family, but when I came home, the people I played the game with were way more important than my family.
Absolutely.
And I was basically ass upside down. And I struggled with that for a long time.
Yeah, well, I still struggle with that, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's a hard place to be mentally, and I know we've talked about it briefly and touched on it here and there, but the aftercare that these shows should be giving you, I don't think they invest as much money into that as they do in the making of the show, or we wouldn't have all the opinions out there from people that have been on them that we do. So hopefully in the future, because I'm one to always try to move forward and become better. Hopefully in the future, with kind of like all the movements that are happening in the world right now, you push for those movements in hopes of things getting better. So just like in real life, we hope that also happens in reality TV, that things get better for the people that actually go on. So that's just
that's really moving point, Elaine. I agree.
It needs to happen. It needs to happen. And sometimes, like in America, we got a lot of race issues right now, and these are things that should have been addressed years ago. This is stuff that should have been already tackled years ago, and everybody should be seen as equals and on even playing field. And it's like with the movements that's going on in America, we're just now getting around to that, which is tragic. but thank God that we're finally there, right? Thank God that things are actually happening. So hopefully, like I said, in the future for reality TV, hopefully it evens out and we're all.
But in America, people were talking about this when I was born. This was the stuff of 1961, 1962, wasn't it?
That's the messed up part about it. That's
and now we're 60 years later, and we still haven't got around to dealing with this.
I know, but I think it's here, bro. I really think it's here. I think we're in a place now where it's like we're gonna deal with this, or they're gonna die trying. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I think we're starting to come together a little bit more, and I'm always here for that. You know, I think everybody should be treated the same. So.
Well, you see, one of the problems that we got if we look at the reality TV thing is globally. Since I came off the circle, I've really focused on reality TV, and I feel as if I've had my head in a garbage can, not a bag of biscuits. Is it a bag of biscuits?
Busted can of biscuits.
A busted can of biscuits. There we are. Right. Yeah.
Alex, you don't know, but that's what I referred to myself on Survivor, was a busted can of biscuits, and people hadn't heard that. But in country terms, you take a can and you hit it on the counter, and all this fluff comes out. Well, that's what this middle section is, you know. So, but Tim always messes it up. He calls me a bag of biscuits. I don't know.
I'm so sorry. Anyway, but yeah, I just Alex is disappearing. No, he's here. Oh, it's a dog, isn't it?
No, he's just rolling away. He's tired of our shit.
No, we would have to finish shortly anyway. But I was just going to say that globally, people have approached us by thinking what we need is more psychiatry. But the problem is reality TV uses psychiatrists in order to cast the show. And then it throws the same sort of psychiatrists back at the participants after the show is finished and thinks that we're going to trust them. I just don't think. First of all, we don't know what these psychiatrists, what their qualifications are. I got something to do with the mind. Well, what is that? Is your name Darren Brown or something? Or what are you? What are you? I don't know who these psychiatrists are, who these therapists are, and I don't trust the people who've been thrown in my direction. But I think more than that, I think we actually need to professionalize the industry and get all those support things away from production. So production just produces, and so Probst just goes off and does his show. He's not invested in Aftercare. And I'm sure he'd be only too happy to take that position. And the same with Studio Lambert, and the same with any of these production companies. Just produce and make sure that there are other companies which support. And then you can do all your things. I would still like a bit of kindness.
Yeah.
But
it's turned into a cruel world, Tim. I don't know if you know this or not, but it's like you got to give them the blood or something, or they're not going to watch it. I don't know what.
I don't mind a little blood. I was a goat herder. I was extremely good. Take the teeth out and do something at the other end at the same time.
Oh my God! I knew he was going there.
I was a professional castrator, so I can't really take a high and mighty. I knew it.
Jim, on that note, I'm going to love you and leave you.
Yeah, look, Alex. Before you go, where can we find you on social media? Because we want to.
You can find me at Professor_Tim_Wilson. He's the best creator on social media. And follow him. Give him all the love you possibly can, because he deserves it.
There you go.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Bye, Alex.
Bye.
We're all going to go, I think. So thank you very much. It's been an absolute delight. And we'll see you, I hope, tomorrow when we'll be talking to Vithun.
What time? Let's straighten this out.
It'll be the same time tomorrow as we've seen as we've had it today. So 6 o'clock British time, which is what in US time?
I think it's 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, but
1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
I've been wrong before.
And 6 p.m. in British time. We look forward to seeing you then, and we'll we'll find out far more about what's going on in Circle 3 from Vithan than we ever did from me and from Alex and from Elaine.
That's all right.
So nice to have you here today. So bye-bye.
See y'all.